Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey Coach. This is Tammy Mosier, and we're at that stage where start of a new year, start of a new planner. And so, as many of you know, I use weekly planners. That's how I usually approach my work because I like the ability to kind of move things around in a weekly section of time. But I designed a planner this time that has kind of a top page, if you will, that gives me a lot of maneuverability, and then I can go into the weekly feature. So I wanted to just give you an overview, and then I'm going to do a series of videos that kind of dig down deeper into several parts of this in case you want to build some of this out. As always, a big inspiration for me is Marie Poulin. And so I take different parts or things I've seen on different planners she has, and I kind of build from there. On this, one of the things that I found that I really like is Indiafy. And I don't know if you've taken a look at them, but that allows me to put in this little box over here to the right that gives me different quotes. And so I can just refresh and I get different quotes. And there's 3 or 4 different types of quotes that you can have just automatically populate. I also have my navigate bar to my left, which allows me then to go to different parts of this page, and then some links out to my 2020 year in review, which is where I did reflection for last year and set my plan in place for this next year, milestones, building blocks, that type of thing. And then a link out to the Journey Coach information. So I've kind of put this down. I've got a quick action window here at the top. And this is connected to, most of these are connected to my pivotal actions lists. And then they're just sorted by due today, due tomorrow. And so these are filters that are automatically set. So that just continually updates. I'm behind. So that's what was due within the last week that hasn't been checked off. Another set of business actions, things that are due next week. So if I just want a quick look at next week's action item list, I can pull that down and look. I also have one that's specific to research activity. So if I have any research activity I need to look at, and over the next month is how that's filtered in a list. And then I have my weekly features. So this is where, I've got the next 4 weeks ready to go. And I can just go in here and go, okay, I'm going to work out of the week. And so I've got a quick way to just click into there. So usually I have these kind of shut down except for this very due today. So I can get a quick look, and then I can always come down here and click into a weekly planner. But I'm going to wait for that. This next section has my inbox where things get dumped if I'm doing a web clip. So anything I'm sending to my Notion from the web, I send into the Explore, Expel, Expand. So this has very few properties in it. In fact, it only has 3. It's a what type am I, the date it's added, and then if I've done it. So if these are really quick things, I threw something in there and it is some kind of action item. So let's say I'm out running around town and I think, oh, I need to do this. Then more than likely, I've got the widget on my phone. It comes up to this page. I just dump it in that new, and it may be something that I can just quickly do when I get home. I'm not going to put it in any other database. So I added this did it so I could just mark it as done. And I filter this list by date is added on or before today, and it's not checked off as done. And so that way, those are things that'll just sit there, and I can drag them over into my notebook, or I can drag them down into creative assets, or I can send it to my library or send it to my action items. So I've got the options of moving it any place I need to go, and then it'll just take on all those properties and I can process it. I have my notebook, and the notebook is actually where I have a lot of my different types of templates, right? So if I'm dealing with items in my library references, then I do material summaries. And for some of you who've asked me to do a video on how I process journal articles and things of that nature and track research, this is really integrated with that. And I am going to do that video in the next few weeks. If I'm doing research and I need to track the changes, any kind of thoughts and stuff, if I've got a mentee discussion, a feedback note, reference material, Then I have my creative assets. So these are coaching content. If I'm writing an article, a webinar, something of that nature, it goes in here. And then this is really the hub of my planning. So I've got milestones, which these are really things that run the year or maybe even multiple years. And the progress bars are connected to completion of building blocks. Building blocks are the things that need to happen if I'm going to actually achieve my milestones. So you can consider those the projects, if you will. These project progress bars are connected to my action items. So that's how I've got two sets of progress bars. That's what they're connected to in the different areas. And then I have my blueprint, which this is the blueprint for how I'm actually going to achieve building blocks and milestones. Consider it my daily tactics, right? What is it going to take to be able to really achieve those? And this is the blueprint for that. So it gives me a really easy way to, one, add things to the habit list because these are quantifiable and I can see if I'm getting them done. But they also help me with, just a quick touch. Am I doing this every week? Can I say I've checked those off this week? I have my month in reviews, which for the month in reviews, when I open those up, I can go ahead and apply this. Haven't done January's yet, but you can see there's roll-ups to this. So execution scores, commitment scores, calculate from the roll-up of the weeks. Days worked every week gets pulled up. Weekly gratitude gets rolled up. Oops, on commitment. So this is really where on the weekly level, I go, I made this commitment and oops, I didn't meet it. And so it starts to kind of pull in here and let me know at a month what I'm not hitting. And then I have all these review and reflect questions to answer when I get to that month's review. And so I'll go through and answer these. And then I have my, my actions that were done during that period of time, the building blocks and the milestones pull through so I can just take a look at those and see how things are kind of panning out. And then 90-day planning sprints. So this is really where the rubber hits the road for me in terms of planning. You can also call it quarterly planning. But these are global blocks in terms of these commitments. So when I change them, they change everywhere. Notes for planning to keep in mind. And then I've got a series of questions here to answer to help me with this 90-day sprint. And then I can look back and I have this set up where I can look at this in the 90-day timeline. So I can go back and look at the last 90 days, how is that going? And then I can look at my 90-day gallery, my blueprint of tactics again, my action items, and I have them in these timeline views because this way I can easily scroll to the last 90 days and how that sprint looks and if things got checked off. And then I can move into the next 90 days and what's already there and build from there. How are things working? How's that going? What do I need to shift or change in planning for the next 90 days? And so all of that can be accessed from this top level page. Over here in the important links, I'm linked to my index, which this is kind of my answer now to the master tag database. And so in this index can be people, particular topics, and I'm using more and more backlinks, but the index is also helpful. Then I have all my databases located on two different pages. There's the content databases and planning and action databases. And then I've got a link straight to the creative assets. So that's my top level dashboard, if you will. And it's really helpful because I have a lot of this information that's just a quick view right here. But now let's go into what the week looks like. And so I've redesigned this as well in terms of what it looks like and how I use it. I love the new functionality of being able to hide properties because that cleans up the top so much. I have my same kind of structure as the primary page. I've got my navigation on the side, which has a link directly back to that page, to the hub, and then to different areas on this page. Then I have these toggles right here. So the first are meditation prompts. So these are really for me to take a look at, and they're new every week and help me. Part of my habit tracker is to actually do some meditation. So this just gives me, I can open this, read one of them, get it in my mind, and then do a little bit of meditation, which really for me is quiet time and just, kind of shut out stimulus and think, reflect, if you will. I also have a start the week checklist, which is what I start with every week in terms of pulling one of these up and working my way through getting it kind of ready to go for the week. So it walks me through my startup. And then at the end of the week, I just open the end of the week checklist, and it's smaller, but it also guides me through making sure that I'm ready for the next week. Then I have my quick to-dos, and these are the things that, again, don't need to go on a full-on action item list. They're just things I need to remember I need to do and mark off. And then I have a list of my next weekly features, so that if I go, oh, I don't want to put this quick item on this week's quick to-dos because it really doesn't need to be done for 2 weeks. Well, then I can click through here and go ahead and add it. But I can keep that all rolled up when I don't need it. In this area over here, this also came from Indiafy, and it's a connection to my Google Calendar. And so I'm loving this because it puts it in place. I can see what's going on. I don't really work out of it in terms of adding things, but it does put that on a calendar view on my Notion page so I can actually see it. And I think that's pretty slick. And you can change this to a days view. You can change it to an agenda view, which I actually kind of like because it gives you everything in a row and it's color coded to match, what I've got set up. So that's a really nice feature. I also have the habit tracker. And one of the slick things with this habit tracker is this add a habit tracker template button is global. So what that means is this is embedded on my template for the weekly planner. And I've got this here. If I want to make a change, all I need to do is open up the template button and change it. And then anywhere this template button is embedded, I now have a new habit tracker that's been updated. But the instances I've already started on past weekly planners do not change. And I really like that. I really tested, this big habit tracker that keeps track of information for a year and has all this on it. And then you decide, oh, I don't really want to track this anymore. It doesn't really fit what I'm trying to do. So I want to do this instead. And what you find yourself doing is if you go change any of those properties, then everything changes, right? The information you had with the old properties is gone. And when are you really going to go look at that and look at it in that way? What I decided is that I wanted to have these embedded on each week, independent to that week. So if I adapt or change my habit tracker, it does not change anything on the old habit trackers. And when I look at my monthly reflections and I pull up these weeks, I look at the habit trackers and identify things in those habits that aren't going the way they need to, and that I'm not checking off, and that, I need to either I'm ignoring tactics or I need to add some tactics. And I think this for me is going to be a much more useful way to tackle this. So but I'm loving this global button because then I just have to change it in this one place and I don't have to worry about going to the template. I don't have to worry about other things. And I can just roll that habit tracker up so it's not in the way. Then I have this button, template button, and this is my weekend reflection. And one of the things with this is I didn't want to put this in a toggle necessarily. And I didn't want it cluttering up the page during the week when I'm not ready for it. So what I like about this is when I'm ready to do the reflection, I just hit that button, press me, and I get all this and I can fill it in. And then I just leave it there. And because when I get to my month's reflection, I can pull that up and really look in this area. And so it's a great way for me to handle that. Then I have my wins for the week, which is directly from Marie Poulin. What is it that if I accomplished this week, I would really feel like I won the week, even if it was not great in all aspects. And then my commitments. And I like these. I put these little the little icons here because these are easily changed, as you know, by just clicking on them. And so they represent different levels of accomplishment associated with those commitments. And so they can be changed easy. And as you know, as you can see, I don't have these filled in for this view. Then my inbox is shown here again, the creative assets that I'm working on that week. And then I have my take action also in a series of toggles and with different views built in. So this is just career. So it's filtered so that it does not have my teaching, grading, or personal in it. And I've got different views I can look at here. I can look at my calendar where it just shows me what hasn't been done. I have it sorted by priority. So is it on fire, must do, second string, if I can, someday soon. I also have an energy board view. So this is, I'm down for the count after I do it. I may pass out, maybe need a nap afterwards, or it's easy peasy, or it's not going to take me really any energy at all. And then I have a Pomodoro view, which is, the amount of time. So it really lets me, depending on how much time I have, how much energy I have, what the level of priority is, or if I just want to work out of the calendar, I can do that and see what's going on. I like the calendar sometimes because I can really move down and see what's going on for the rest of the month. But sometimes that can be a little more overwhelming and it's better just to look at one of the lists. I have a company list that I need to look at to really see what's going on there. A grading calendar. So grading anything to do with teaching or adjunct work. I put all that on this calendar so it's separated out. And then a personal board, which obvious what that is. And then an everything. So in this one, nothing is filtered off of it. It actually, the only filter is that they're items that haven't been done. So when I click it as done, it disappears. Otherwise, everything, grading, all of it shows up here in this section for me to look at. Then I have my current project priorities, which are the building blocks. So I can come down here and see what I've got listed there. My notebook. And so it's a 2-week view. This will just filter in, what's been added in the notebook in the last 2 weeks. This is also for notebooks. I keep a lot of, I look at it like it's the piece of paper that you would have on your desk, a notebook you would add information to. And then I have a research area and then my library. So this down here, I titled as research because this is generally what I'm looking at when I come down here. And so my library is what I'll get into next on the next video to really show you how I've started handling all the material I work with and how I keep that and then how I use that when I'm writing or processing articles or dealing with other material, because I have a template in here too that helps me actually break down the article so I know exactly what's in it. And just helps me process it a little easier. So that's my week view and what I'm now doing at that level. And then here's kind of the top level view that I can also operate out of pretty easily if I don't want to click into the full week. And between the two, I'm very pleased with where this is at. I think it gives me a more streamlined view of what I have happening. And at the same time is more organized and has really everything I need on these 2 pages. I don't need my sidebar open. I can find everything. And so I hope this maybe inspired somebody to look at a new way to approach your planning for this year and start to think about how to get organized or how to actually design your view that helps you look into your future and create your tomorrow. Until next time, have a great week, and I'll see you when we talk about the library.